Celso Pina. Celso Pina was a Mexican singer, composer, and accordionist, mainly in the genre of cumbia, being one of the most important musicians in the style of cumbia rebajada. Pina was a pioneer in the mixture and fusion of tropical sounds, with many of his works having elements of cumbia, regional Mexicano, cumbia, sonidera, etc. Pina was born on April 6, 1953, in Monterrey. He was the oldest of nine siblings. The name of Celso was chosen by his grandfather. On August 21, 2019, Pina died from a heart attack in Monterrey, Mexico at age of 66. He had felt unwell and checked in at the hospital San Vincennet of his own accord and passed soon after. Wood. Leo Wood was an American television journalist and public relations professional who reported for CBS News and NBC News. Wood served as a news anchor on NBC's Today Show from 1975 to 1976. Wood was born in Indianapolis, Indiana, and attended Huey High School. He received a bachelor's degree in speech and broadcasting from Purdue University. In 1952, Wood began his broadcasting career at WDZ, a commercial radio station in Decatur, Illinois, soon after graduating from Purdue. He then joined WSBT radio and TV broadcaster in South Bend, Indiana in 1953. Leo Wood died at a hospice in Riverside County, California on August 21, 2013 at the age of 84. Bernstein. Sid Bernstein was an American music promoter, talent manager, and author. Bernstein changed the American music scene in the 1960s by bringing the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Herman's Hermits, the Moody Blues, and the Knicks to America. He was the first impresario to organize rock concerts at sports stadiums. Bernstein was born in New York City in 1918 and was adopted by a Russian Jewish family. He studied journalism at Columbia University before working in a ballroom and joining the US Army in 1943. During World War II, he was stationed in Britain and also served in France with the 602nd Anti-Aircraft Artillery Gun Battalion of the United States Army. At the end of the war, he returned to New York and became the manager of mambo musician S.A. Morales, as well as acting as a booking agent. He started work for the General Artists Corporation and by the early 1960s was working as a booking agent for pop stars such as Dion and Chubby Checker. He died on 21st August. Nancy Dolman. Nancy Dolman was a Canadian comedic actress and singer. She had a recurring role as Annie Slade Tate on the ABC sitcom soap. She appeared in her husband Martin Short's 1985 cable television special Martin Short concert for the North Americans. Dolman was born in Toronto. Her brother is director Bob Dolman. Dolman performed in the Canadian Rock Theatre production of Jesus Christ Superstar in the early 1970s, which traveled to Las Vegas and Los Angeles and recorded an album with the group at MGM while they were in Los Angeles. In 1980, she married fellow Canadian actor Martin Short, whom she had met during the run of the 1972 Toronto production of Godspell. Dolman was Gilda Radner's understudy. Dolman attended high school at York Mills Colgate Institute in Toronto and held a bachelor's degree in philosophy from the University of Western Ontario. Dolman suffered from ovarian cancer and died on August 21, 2010 in Pacific Palisades, California at the age of 58. According to the Los Angeles County coroner, she died of natural causes. Dolman's remains were cremated and her ashes were scattered from the dock of the Short family cottage onto the waters of Lake Rossio, Muskoka, Ontario, Canada. Jerry Finn was an American record producer and mix engineer. He worked with numerous punk rock and pop punk artists such as Blink 182 AFI, Sum 41, Alkaline Trio, Green Day, Morrissey, MXPX, and Rancid. Finn was known for the warm guitar tone present on albums he produced as well as the punks. He was instrumental in developing the polished sound of pop punk in its second wave of popularity between the mid-1990s and early 2000s. Jerry Finn was born on March 31, 1969 in Ventura, California. When asked about his ancestry in a later interview, Finn did not know nothing. He was adopted. The first music he remembered hearing was a soundtrack to Fiddler on the Roof. He attended Dick Grove School of Music. He became an assistant at the Music Grinder in Hollywood in the early 1990s and he was later hired as a second engineer. Finn then moved to Devonshire Sound Studios where he met Rob Cavallo. He died on 21st August. Wesley Willis. Wesley Willis was an American musician and visual artist. Diagnosed with schizophrenia in 1989, Willis began a career as an underground singer-songwriter in the outsider music tradition. Willis' songs are typically partially spoken in an MC style and partially sung in a nasal and out-of-tune manner, reminiscent of punk rock vocals. They feature bizarre, humorous, and sometimes obscene or absurd lyrics sung over backing, created by using the auto accompaniment feature on his Technics KN keyboard. His songs cover a wide variety of topics, with mental illness and consumerism being the most prominent themes. Willis was born in Chicago, Illinois on May 31, 1963, to Walter and Annie Willis. He had a brother named Ricky, who is also a disabled artist, 8. According to the Los Angeles Times, Willis grew up in Chicago's projects as one of the 10 children of parents who had a violent relationship and separated when he was young. He spent time in several foster homes and was essentially raised by two older brothers who went with him from home to home. Willis began hearing voices during a period of living at his mother's home in the 1980s, when her abusive boyfriend Roger Lee Carpenter held a gun to his head and robbed him of $600 Willis had saved. By the end of the 1980s, he was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia and institutionalized for 2 months after his diagnosis. On August 21, 2003, Willis died due to complications from chronic myelogenous leukemia in Squaquoy, Illinois at age 40.
Stephen Cole Stephenson, Icelandic actor of stage and screen, who was best known for his role as Robbie Rotten on the television series Lazy Town from 2004 until 2014. He trained at the Iceland Academy of the Arts and went on to perform in productions of Gareno, the Borgerek, Sign in the Rain, and A Midsummer Night Dreams at the National Theatre of Iceland. He founded Rainbow Children and non-profit foundations dedicated to ending bullying in schools. He had a son and 3 daughters with his wife, Stinu. He provided voiceover work for the 2006 film Night at the Museum, which starred Ben Stiller. He was born on 10th July 1975 in Iceland. Cause of death is cancer, and he was died on August 21, 2018. Sweepy is a recording artist who was a member of the independent record label Men of Principles 3. His best known songs include Best Friend and Dirty. He managed to finish high school with a GPA of 3.0 while growing up on tough streets of Southeast Washington, D.C. He was affiliated with a group called Squad Boys. His real name was Douglas Brooks, and he was from the D.C., Maryland, Virginia areas. He went on tour with Lil Durk and was from the same neighborhood as Shea Glaze. He was born on November 24, 1997 in the United States, and he was died on August 21, 2016. Leon Trotsky, Russian communist revolutionary who was the founder and first leader of the Red Army, which toppled the Russian monarchy in 1917. He was a political theorist as well as politician. The ideas he developed are commonly known as the ideology of Trotskyism. He was born Lev Bronsted and learned to speak Russian, French, German, and Ukrainian at a young age. After he led a failed opposition against the policies and rise of the 1920s, he was successfully removed from power in 1927 and was later attacked in his home in Mexico with an ice axe by an undercover NKVD agent. Leading to his death, he is portrayed as Richard Burton in the 1972 films The Assassinations of Trotsky. He was married to his second wife, Natalia Sedova, from 1903 until 1940, and they raised 4 kids together. His brothers-in-law was Bolshevik revolutionary Lev Kamenev. He believed in the works and views of Karl Marx. He was died on August 21, 1940, and he was born on November 7, 1879 in Ukraine. He was 60 years old. Don Everly, country and rock singer who recorded Wake Up, Little Susie with his brother Phil as the duo, the Everly Brothers. His talent caught the attention of family friend and record producer Chet Atkins. Both the Bee Gees and Paul McCartney were inspired by his music. He married Mary Sue Ingraham on March 25, 1957, Venetia Stevenson on February 13, 1962, and later Adela Gaza. He had three daughters named Erin, Stacy, and Venetia, as well as the son named Adam. Like Everly, Bob Dylan was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He was died on August 21, 2021. He was 84 years old, and he was born on February 1, 1937. Brian Lee, New Orleans-based blues guitarist and singer, whose blindness earned him the nickname Bradley Blues Daddy. He began releasing music in the late 70s and earned a large following in Louisiana in the 80s with his band Jump Street 5. He was completely blind by age 8. He developed a passion for blues, listening to the radio stations Villa KM, and was playing in the band The Glaciers by his late teens. He performed with Kenny Wayne Shepherd on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno in February 2007. He married a woman named Bethany, who also served as his manager. He was personally encouraged to keep playing the blues by legendary blues guitarist Muddy Waters. He was died on 21st August 2020, and he was born on March 16, 1943. In Wisconsin. He was 77 years old. Ettore Bugatti, Italian-French automotive designer, engineer, and founder of the vehicles manufacturing company Automobiles E. Bugatti. He created engines and vehicles for Preniti and Stucci, Peugeot, and other manufacturers. He even designed and built airplane engines in the early decades of the 20th century. His son Jane died at the age of 30 while test driving a race car the Bugatti had designed. After the death of his first wife, Barbara, he married Genevieve and they had a son and a daughter. He was the son of a Milanese designer of jewelry and furniture and the grandson of a painter. He and Stone Tucker were both automotive designer and entrepreneur. He was died on 21st August 1947, and he was born on September 15, 1881 in Italy, and he was 65 years old. Danny Locken was best remembered for playing Barnaby Tucker in the 1969 musical film versions of Hello Dolly. He also appeared in the original Broadway productions of West Side Story. He started dancing professionally when he was 8 years old. In his teen years, he appeared in productions of The Music Man and Gypsy. He was murdered at the age of 34. He was briefly married to Kathy Hess. The couple had one son. He co-starred with Barbara Streisand in Hello Dolly. He was died on 21st August 1977. He was 34 years old, and he was born on July 13, 1943. Thomas Meehan. Thomas Meehan is a three-time Tony Awards winning playwright in the category of Best Book of a Musical for work on the well-known productions of Annie, The Producers, and Hairspray. He worked at the New York Talk of the Town after graduating from Hamilton College. Additionally, he has written the libretto to an opera productions of 1984 and won an Emmy Awards for as the writer for television's comedy. He was born in Ossining, New York. He has collaborated with Mel Brooks on a number of projects, including helping write the screenplay to Spaceballs. He was born on August 14, 1929, and he was died on August 21, 2017, and he was 88 years old. May her soul rest in peace. Dalia Rabikovich, Israeli poet, pacifist, and translator who is best known for her 1987 poem, The End of a Fall. She received both the Balix Prize for Lecturer and the Israel Prize for Poetry. She was the daughter of a Russian Jewish engineer, father and teacher, mother, and she started reading and writing at the age of 3. She was heavily involved in the Israeli peace movement. She married twice, first at age 18, divorced twice, and gave birth to one son. She translated the work of W.B. Yeats into Hebrew. She was born on November 27, 1936, and she was died on August 21, 2005. He was 68 years old. Jenny Robertson. Jenny Robertson was Miss North Carolina 1963 and later became a beloved humorist and storyteller. In high school, she was basketball standout, averaging over 30 points a game. She starred on Sirius Channel Love USA and Love Break. She married Jerry Robertson. She was featured on the Jeff Foxworthy radio show Blue Collar Comedy. She was died on 21st August 2021 and she was born on September 21, 1943 in Boston, and she was 77 years old. Yuri Nikolin. Yuri Nikolin was a widely popular Russian actor and clown in Soviet Russia. He starred in many popular films including Brilliance, Tovia, Roka, and 12 Stolives. In 1937, he was awarded the title of the Three People Artist of the USSR, and he received the Order of Lenin both in 1980 and 1990. He was a member of the Red Army in the Winter War against Finland from 1939 to 1940. In 1990, he was given the Hero of Socialist Labor Award. His mother was a garage supervisor and the father was a satirical playwright, which influenced him to become an actor. He was often regarded as the Russian counterpart of silent comedian Buster Keaton. He was died on 21st August 1997 and he was born on December 18, 1921 in Russia. He was 75 years old. Robert Moog. Robert Moog is an engineer and music pioneer who ushered in a new era of music when he invented the electronics synthesizer in 1964. He first came up with the idea of making a music synthesizer while pursuing using a doctorate at Council University. In 1953, he founded Moog Music Company based in Asheville, North Carolina that manufactured electronic musical instruments. His mother encouraged him to pursue a career in music while his father helped him tinker with electronics. Alicia Keys imported the synthesizer into her music. He was died on 21st August 2005 and he was born on May 23, 1934 in New York, and he was 71 years old. Hilda Havlet, early female pilot and founder of a successful aircraft manufacturing company in the United Kingdom. She spent time in Egypt during her late teens and later attended nursing schools before setting her sights on a career in aviation. She and engineer Gustave Blondiau opened the flying schools in. He also began manufacturing and selling airplane parts. Her father, Rev. George W. Horvath, was the vicar of an English church. She was the leading female aviatrix in England, very similar to her American peer Amelia Earhart. She was born on February 17, 1864, and she was died on August 21, 1943 in England. She was 79 years old. Mary Memphis Dodge. Mary Memphis Dodge, an American children's writer and editor. She is most famous for Hans Brinker or The Silver Sketches, a novel that presents a portrait of early 19th century Dutch life. During her younger years, She received a good education from private tutors. She later collaborated with her father on the publications of the United States Journal. She and Harrier Beecher Stowe co-edited Hearth and Home, a popular periodical. She married lawyers William Dodge in 1951. 8 years later, as a result of financial woes, Dodge left the family and was later found dead. She was editor of the St. Nicholas magazine, which solicited stories from Mark Twain. She was died on 31st August 1905 and she was born on January 26, 1831 in New York. She was 74 years old. Geoffrey Chaucer. Geoffrey Chaucer, classical musician who knew more than 100 concerts, including works of Beethoven, Liszt, Brahms, and Stravinsky. He was awarded a Churchill Fellowship when he was 30, becoming the youngest recipient at that point. He considered Melbourne pianist Neil Newton Wood to be the most stimulating and intellectually powerful pianist Australia has ever produced, and arranged some of Newton Wood music from 1944, Tiny Pipit for solo piano. His mother, Veroncia Chaucer, was also a talented pianist. She taught music to support her two sons after her divorce from Major General Donald Chaucer. He was died on 21st August 2009 and he was born on November 5, 1954 in Australia. Barbara Harris, actor whose first movie role was in 1,000 Clowns. She won a Tony Awards for acting with Alan Arkin in the play From the Second City. She was a member of the Compass Players, the first improvisational theater troupe in the United States. She appeared in the 1997 film Point Blank. She married Paul Sills in 1955 and the couple divorced 3 years later. She was in the movie Family Plot, which was directed by Alfred Hitchcock. She was born on July 25, 1935 and she was died on August 21, 2018. She was 83 years old. Richard Atwater. Richard Atwater, co-author along with his wife Florence for the popular children's classic Mr. Rapper's Penguins. He had another children's tale published as will called Doris and the Trolls. He wrote for several print publications across various medium, including the magazine The Chicagoan and newspapers such as Chicago Daily News and the Chicago Tribune. He had a book of poems published called Rickety Realms of Rick. He was married to Florence Atwater from 1921 until 1948 when he passed away. Mr. Popper's Penguins was adapted into a film starring Jim Carrey. Died on August 21, 1948 and born on December 29, 1892. Toby Sheldon, songwriter turned reality television personality, who was best known for paying large sums of money for plastic surgery in order to resemble singer Justin Bieber. He appeared on the shows Botches and My String Editions. His plastic surgeries cost him more than $1 lakh US. He died in a San Fernando Valley, California, motel 6-room of multiple drug intoxications. He was born Tobias Trebels in Nuremberg, West Germany. He appeared alongside Justin Judelka on the talk show Bethany. Died on 21st August 2015 and born on October 3, 1980. He was 34 years old. Guy Vernon, one of the 20th century most famous and inspirational magician. He learned his first magic trick from his father at age 7 when he became interested in becoming a practicing magician. He became an excellent sleight of hand magician and has written 10 magic books. His father taught him his first magic trick when he was 7 years old. He died in Ramona, California. Another famous Canadian magician like him is Grog Henry. He was died on 21st August 1992 and he was born on June 11, 1894 in Canada, and he was 98 years old. George Jackson. George Jackson, both a member of the Black Panther Party and one of the founder of the prison gang, the Black Gorilla Family. He was one of 3 African American soldate prison inmates who murdered a Cushions prison's guard in order to violently emphasize the need for prison reform. During his teenage years, he was convicted and imprisoned and burglary, assault, and earned robbery charges. While incarcerated at San Quentin State Prisons, he was introduced to Marxist ideology and devoted himself to a violence-based brand of activism. He was killed in 1971 while attempting to escape from prisons. He inspired saxophonist Archie Shepp 1972 Attica Blues album. One of 5 children born to Georgia B. and Lester Jackson, he spent his early years in Chicago, Illinois, and later relocated to California. His younger brother George Jackson joined him in his violent brand of activism, brandizing and automatic weapons at the Marin County Courthouse and freeing several prisoners who were being held there. Bobby Dylan's 1971 tribute single George Jackson rose the number 33 on the US Billboard 200. He was died on 21st August 1971 and born on September 23, 1948. Alexei Panshin, an American science fiction writer and critic. He is best known for his Anthony Villiers series and for his award-winning novel Rite of Passage. He also published The World Beyond the Hill, a critical study of the genre of science fiction. He studied library science at the University of Chicago. He published his first 3 novels, Rite of Passage, Stilwell, and The Third Revelations in 1968. He published his first story in 1963, and his wife, Corey, co-authored the Hugo Award-winning work, World Beyond the Hill. He and Kurt Vonnegut Jr. were both recipients of the prestigious Hugo Award. Died on 21st August 2023 and he was born on August 14, 1940 in Michigan. He was 82 years old. Danitra Vance, comedian and actress who became known for appearing on Saturday Night Live in first 11th season and died of breast cancer in 1994. She graduated with honors from Roosevelt University and later studied drama at Webber Douglas Academy in Dramatic Art. She was the first African American woman as well as the first lesbian to become a repertory player on Saturday Night Live. Her longtime partner was Mary Jones Miller. She co-starred with Al Franken during her run on Saturday Night Live. She was born on July 13, 1954 and she was died on August 21, 1994. She was 40 years old. And Anita Lizana, the first Latin American and first Hispanic person to be a world #1 tennis player. She was born in Santiago. She won the US Championships in 1937 and was the first Latin American to win a Grand Slam singles championship. She married Ronald Taylor Ellis. She was a accomplished female tennis player like Tracy Ashton. She was born on November 19, 1915 and she was died on August 21st, 1994. So dear audience, this is the latest information about who died today on 21st August. So please share this video and type one comment from which country you're watching this video.